All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about slope-intercept form for lesson 5-6. You already have 3 other videos in your playlist on YouTube. You have one with 2 different other teachers, and one of them's pretty entertaining. He tells you like it is. And the other shows you some example problems. The 3rd video you have is a rap of y equals mx plus b. To the tune of the YMCA song, just to help you remember the equation. You do need to remember this one. We have y equals mx plus b. You're going to use it forever and ever all the way through your math career. So, memorize this one. In this formula, m is your slope or the movement of your line. See how they begin with m? And b is your Y-intercept. Okay? Don't get that confused with the y. This is your Y-intercept, the b. I also like to think of it as the beginning. It's where you begin your line. Okay? It's what you start with. All right? So, if we are said to write the equation that describes each line, slope equals 4, and the y-intercept is -3. You literally take these numbers and plug it in the equation, and you're done. That's all it's asking you to do. Slope-intercept form. Well, if you're given slope and you're given the y-intercept, plug it in and move on. So, I have y equals 4x minus 3. That's all you do. Remember to keep it simple, silly. Just kiss it. Remember, keep it simple, silly. Okay? It's not any more difficult than that. Don't make it any other difficult. The reason why you need to know this is because you're using a graphing calculator. To use your graphing calculator to get the calculator to solve all your graphs for you, you have to be able to put equations into slope-intercept form. That's the only way the calculator will accept the equation. That's why you need to be able to do this. So, that was number 1. Number 2 is going to be y equals -2, because there's the slope, plus 0. There it is. Well, I don't need to put the plus 0, so I can actually take that off. Oh, you know what? Back up a second. I left my x off. Don't make that mistake. Always put your y and your x on there. So it would be -2x plus 0. But remember, I don't need the 0 because plus 0 doesn't change it. And now it's in a direct variation format. Okay? Number 3, -1/3 is the slope. The y-intercept is 6. So number 3, y equals -1/3 x plus 6. You know it's plus if the y-intercept is positive. You know it's negative or minus if the y-intercept is negative. It's that easy. All right, let's do some more. Alrighty, move that up. We have write each equation in slope-intercept form, then graph the line as described by the equation, which is way easier than anything else we've done. You don't even have to make a table. This is so easy. You can do this. It's just look at the equation, you have a beginning, and you have a movement. Now, the first thing that makes it a little difficult is you've got to notice it's not in y equals form. So we've got to put it in y equals mxb form. So, to do that, I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Okay? I'm going to do this down here where you can see it a little better. So I end up with y equals 3 minus x. Uh-oh, that's not in mx plus b format, so let's switch it around. Remember, 3 minus x, I can also move this to the front and make it y equals -x plus 3. Okay? Whenever you have a variable without a number in front of it, it's got a 1, and it's understood. So, this is my y-intercept, the 3. So, I'm going to put a dot at y equals 3. So, that's right there. Remember, that's my beginning spot. There we go, y equals 3. My slope is right here, negative. So that means my slope is going to go in downward motion. It's going to have a negative slope. and it's -1. So that means I go down 1, over 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. So I'm going to go down to 2, over 1, down to 1, over to 2. Oops. Okay, then we go down to 0, over to 3. Now I have 4 points. I'm just going to connect them. Draw an arrow on that end, draw an arrow on that end. I've now graphed it. My equation is y equals -x plus 3. Okay, again, the y-intercept is your beginning, the slope is your movement. It tells you where to go. Let's do number 6. I want to get y by itself, so I need to move this +4 over here. The opposite of +4 is -4. So I'm going to end up with, bring this down here, I'm going to change my color. Y equals 4/3 x minus 4. Now don't let this fraction right here scare you. It's actually just a division problem. It actually makes it even easier than a whole number because now we have our rise over our run. But let's start at the beginning. I've got -4. Okay, I'm going to change my marker color here and make it a little smaller. Make it blue. Change the size of it. There we go. All right. My y-intercept is -4, so I'm going to go down to -4 and put a dot. Remember, that's my beginning spot. Then my slope says I'm going to go up 4 to the right 3. I know I go up because it's a positive. Positive means you go up. Negative means you go down. Okay? So 4, from here I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 points. Connect and draw your arrows. Now the next one has a little more steps. The first 2 were just 1 step. This one's going to have more than 1 because I've got 2 times y. So I want to get y by itself, so I've got to move the 5x over, and I've got to move this -2 over. Okay, we're going to start with the 5x. I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. Let's come down here. I'll end up with -2y equals -5x plus 10. It's plus 10 because 10 is positive. I'm going to divide by -2 on both sides. And I do that to the 10 because I can't mess with the x. Okay, it's being multiplied by the 5. So I'm going to end up with y equals -5x Hang on, let me back up a second. I misspoke here. Alrighty, so we're going to do the next one. We have 5x I need to get over here, and I have a -2y that I need to get over here. Okay. First I'm going to deal with the x, so I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. I subtracted because 5x is positive. So I'm going to bring the problem down here where we have more space. I end up with -2y equals -5x plus 10. Now the next thing I have to do to get y by itself is divide by -2. And whatever I do to the left, I've got to do to everything on the right. So I'm going to divide by -2. I'm going to divide everything by -2 on this side. So that means I'm going to have this cancel. Y equals, I'm going to leave -5 over 2. So -5 over -2x. 10 divided by -2 is going to give me a -5. So I'm going to change that from plus 10 over -2 to -5. So I applied this to here and applied this to here. It's the reverse of the distributive property. Now I also have to notice that I have a double negative. So if I have a double negative, it's actually going to end up as a positive slope. But I don't have to worry about that changing it here until I draw it. This is going to tell me I go down 5 and I'm going to go left 2. I'm going to start at -5 because that's my y-intercept. So I'm going to put a dot at -5, and then I'm going to go down 5 and over 2. Well, I'm out of graph, so you know what? I'm going to reverse that. Both directions I'm going to go up and to the right. All right, because a double negative makes it a positive. So I can go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 0, and then over 1, 2. Then I can go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, 2. I have 3 points. I connect them and I draw my arrows. Okay? Remember, I just left this number as a fraction. Don't turn it to a decimal. Alrighty, let's do a problem solving. Daniel works as a volunteer in a homeless shelter. So far, he has worked 22 hours, and he plans to continue working 3 hours a week. His hours worked as a function of time is shown in the graph. Write an equation that represents the hours Daniel will work as a function. All right, so we need to look at where does it cross the y-axis. Well, remember, y equals mx plus b. B stands for beginning. Well, how many hours did he begin with? He began with 22 hours. So that's my y-intercept right there. Okay, so I'm going to have plus 22. And I know I'm going to have y equals something x. Well, it told you. How many hours per week is he working? 3. So 3x. There's your function. Identify the slope and the y-intercept and describe their meanings. Okay, the slope is 3 equals m, which equals the hours worked per week. Okay, and then the y-intercept is your b. B equals 22, and that's the hours that he has already worked. Find the number of hours worked after 16 weeks. Well, there's 16. I go up and I see it's right there. He worked 70 hours. And there's your word problem. Don't forget to ask questions in class.